watching all of this take place for these years, well, since the pandemic, I guess it really sunk in, but you can't help but think about the Holocaust, and not for reasons people may think. It's because what's always troubled me about the Holocaust is, why did they go willingly? They never put up a fight. And I think that's because everyone always just assumed, because the people were so controlled in their mind by the government, they just assumed that somebody would come along and fix it. They did. They assumed that trying to think of the word, that calmer, rational thought would prevail before it got to the point. And then when it would get to that point, then it would be that people would move their expectation. Well, maybe when it gets to this point. But even once all of the death was being done and happening, the people that weren't in the concentration camps, they were living their lives like normal. They were. They had been conditioned, brainwashed, most especially healthcare workers, to see a certain sect of society as dirty, deplorable, not hygienically clean. The people in the country, even way back then, in that country, had been, and think about it, they didn't have social media, they didn't have major news except newspapers, but they had so many people at those high-level positions that influenced churches, that influenced the education system, the healthcare system. It's the same thing. So at what point, so for anybody who thinks I can't get off Facebook, at what point does it have to reach till you say, maybe I should have done something sooner? These are the same type people we've had in leadership. This is why Trump was such a threat to them. If you can't get off Facebook, even though, and you're somebody who's a patriot, then ask yourself why you'd want to stay on it anyway. You constantly get jailed. You can't put anything up freely. Why would you want an app like that to have any of your attention? For those people out there that think, oh, if we never had cell phones, if we never had smartphones or social media, the world wouldn't be so bad. Oh, stop. Those are those people, the people that say that stuff, they're the same people that listen to the media, because the media are the ones that say, well, it's a mental health problem. Social media wasn't a mental health problem until it became a mental health problem, or became a problem for the government. And then the government wanted to say what a mental health crisis it is for the children on TikTok. If you go look up all the things that TikTok has done to prevent anything like trafficking and all that, you'll find that they blow Facebook away in trying to do the right thing. Now, I don't care whether they're Chinese or not. I think the American people have been conditioned, just like you were conditioned to think that Russia is this threat. And because we've been so conditioned by that system, we fell for the bullshit that, Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. We went in, caused a bunch of upheaval, and it wasn't our troops' fault. They're following orders. They believe like the rest of us. Yet there was not any weapons of mass destruction, should I remind you. It was an unnecessary war. And what did Bush say after the towers fell? That there would be an ongoing war with faceless people. Basically, what he was saying was that once we take some of them down, there'll be more that crop up, conditioning the people to accept endless war. And we rallied around the American flag and our, nobody's going to do this to our country. But then you realize, no, it was your own country that was responsible for it. Because the people, the shadow government is responsible for it. And if we don't have leaders in Washington that will stand up to the shadow government and they just will give into it, then you're going to see them continue to do hearings to try to take away constitutional rights. You will have your guns taken away, although then it would probably go to a war. But if you're buying into this idea that TikTok is, everybody's addicted to it, no, you're addicted to the news. Like people that are older than me, no, you're addicted to the news the same way young people are addicted to social media. They're used to it. They've been conditioned to it. Now, I think most people could just put it down if they wanted to. I was able to do it with Facebook. I mean, because it eventually gets old. But right now, it's on fire because there's so many people that see the truth and see the direction and danger we're headed towards if we do not get off of this track. So the same way older people are addicted to the news, you older people, it's the same thing. You're addicted to the media. Even if you were a Trump supporter and believed him about fake news, you still watch the media. So you're addicted to the media. You're addicted to fake news. And your parents, well, they were conditioned to be believing of the radio. And before the radio, it was the newspapers, and that's what happened during the Holocaust. They had control of the education of the healthcare system, and they indoctrinated. They made people believe. They made nurses, for God's sake, believe that suffocating a baby while cuddling it was doing the right thing, because if some of the nurses said if the baby got into the hands of the Hitler's group, that they would hurt them more. When really they should have just been not, but they were doing that to save their job. They were doing death. They were killing people. They were justifying it by saying, I have to do my job. I'm just doing what I'm told. Yeah, so I mean, if we don't learn from the past, we're, like the quote is, you're doomed to repeat it. And we've been repeating it for a long time. So as much as I know it's hard for American people to look at the fact that it's your own government that's been lying to you, and in order to save us from this, it means you having to swallow some of your pride and realize you were played to, then we will repeat the same exact history, maybe not exact, but the same history that the Jews went through during the Holocaust.